I would like to proceed on to the next lesson. The next lesson will be on loop. There are two main types of loops, the for loop and the do loop. Generally, they perform a function of iterations of variables so that you can perform a specific number of tasks accordingly. Let's look at the worksheet with cost A, B, C, D to E, and maybe column C is all the price at $20. Now, if I were to run a for loop, I call it ForNext. For I equals to 1 to 5 and next I, it always structured this way for a for loop. So I dimension I as integer, and from which, remember earlier we covered cells I, 3 as column C. I will be from value of 1 to 5, means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 3 will be the column. And it will be substituted with values of 1 to 5. In this way, you can automatically replace the value of 20 with the values of 1 to 5. Maybe let us run to see the effect. By positioning the cursor at this subroutine, you can see the values has been replaced from 1 to 5. Next, I'll move on to for each command. This is used mainly if you have a number of, for instance, worksheet. You would like to maybe record the name of the worksheet or go to the worksheet. You can do so by doing iterations. This is how you use it. Dimension WS as worksheet. For each WS in worksheets, you do a message box and with the name WS name, the worksheet names. In this case, you have two worksheets, sheet 1 and sheet 2. Now let us run and see. By positioning in this subroutine, you're at sheet 1. The next one is sheet 2. In this way, you can run through an iteration of any number of worksheets and perform manipulations of the data by inserting columns or rows accordingly. Next, let's go to the do loop. In the do loop, you have do while loop, do while and a loop. This is similar to for next. The slightly difference is when you use the do while, the condition where I in this case is number of rows will be set in such a way that I is less than or equals to 5. And they'll replace the column values by all 20. And they'll increment the value of I accordingly by 1. And this is loop until I becomes 6, means that it's more than 5, which means it will be bounced out of the loop. In this way, the loop is said to be exited. Now let us run. See, when it's at row 1, the value has been changed to 20, row 2, row 3, so on and so forth. Okay. In order to make it visible, I will reset it back to the previous values by going to the for next loop. Now, let us move on to the do loop while. This is similar as the one above, just that in this case, it will do this loop until the loop is less, while it's still less than or equals to 5, it will still proceed. When it's more than 5, again, it will loop up of the entire looping. Now let us run again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let me reset the values again. There's the other one, which is similar like do while, is do until I is more than 5. So in this case, as long as I is less than 5, it will keep on adding, increment by 1 in this case. So when I equals to 1, and you can define I is equal to I plus 1 here. So similarly, it will increment the row values for column 3 to 20, one at a time. Okay. Last but not least, there's also another one, which is do process the items, loop until I is more than 5. Similarly, the loop will proceed until the I values is more than 5, which is 6 in this case. What I will attempt to do in this simple example is the looping can be done using different methods. It is really up to your comfort level and the way that the looping should be applied that determines the approach that you will take. That's all for now on looping.